Salut et bienvenue. Dans cette leçon, nous allons parler du H muet et du H aspiré. In this lesson, we'll be talking about le H muet et le H aspiré, the silent H in French and the aspirated H. There are two types. Whereas in English, the letter H can be silent at times and at other times, it's pronounceable or it's pronounced. Like for words like honor, silent, hour, silent, and then when you get to a word like heavy, it's pronounced heavy. In French, the letter H is never ever pronounced. Let's get this right once and for all. In French, the letter H is never ever pronounced. That's a rule. You don't pronounce the letter H or the sound of H in French. Got it right? That's good. Now, what's the difference between the two? What's the difference between the silent H and the aspirated H? Now, both of them are silent. Both of them are silent. You don't pronounce either of them. So, what's the distinction now? So, if we look at, for example, a word like homme in French. Homme, if we wanted to say the man, in French, we know the masculine definite article is le. And since homme is a masculine singular word, we should say le homme, le homme. But because of the vowel sound of homme, what we do is we remove the E from le and then use an apostrophe to replace that E, join them together. Now, that process in French is what you call elision. Elision. When you have two vowel sounds coming together, you remove the letter of the first vowel sound and use an apostrophe. That's it. That's called elision in French. So the second thing is if we wanted to say, so in that case, we would say, instead of saying le homme, we say l'homme because of the sound of the word homme, l'homme. So in the second case, let's say we wanted to talk about the plural of homme, so with S now. So instead of saying l'homme, the plural will be les hommes, les hommes. Now, what's happening there is what you call la liaison in French. La liaison, so you take the consonant sound of the last word you pronounced with the vowel sound of the next word, and then you join them together. That sound is called liaison. So les hommes, so the S from le and the O from homme go together and become liaison. You see the liaison? Les hommes. Les hommes. Okay. So in this case, what we do here happens with your H muet or your silent H. So even though we say this one is called silent H, because muet in French is silent or mute, it doesn't mean that the other one, which is your aspirated H, is pronounced. Neither of them are pronounced. So that's it. So this is it. With your aspirated H, you can do neither liaison nor elision. As I explained, elision before is that contracted form when you have two vowel sounds coming together. And liaison is joining your sounds. When you have one consonant sound, you have two words coming together. The first one ends in the consonant sound. The next one starts with the vowel sound connecting that liaison. You cannot do that with le H aspiré, the aspirated H. No liaison, no elision. It's forbidden to do that in French when you have H aspiré. So how do we then know whether it's an H muet or an H aspiré? It's really hard. It's really hard. Unless you know the word, like I will give you a few examples of very common words that you can look at, that you can know, you can memorize because you use them every day. You may know that those ones are H muet or H aspiré. But there is no special way, there is no special rule to identify words that contain or that start with H aspiré. If you have a look in the dictionary, especially a French dictionary, for example, you will see that the word, if that word has an H aspiré, it has an asterisk. You know that little star thing? This one? Yes, it's right before it. The H aspiré is right there. before it. That's how you recognize it. But that means you're going to have to look at every word that you come across in French that starts with an H. But so let's focus on the main ones, the common ones that you will come across. So, for example, let's have a look at hibou. This is one of them. Hibou. So, with this word, we should have said libou. Libou, because of the hibou vowel sound and le. But because it falls in the category of H aspiré, we can't say libou. We now say le hibou. We separate them. Le hibou. And in the plural, we will say les hibous. Whereas in the other case, we would have said les hibous. We would have done the liaison. Liaison is forbidden here. So liaison and elision are forbidden here. So we say le hibou, and then we say les hibous, not les hibous. Les hibous, non. C'est un H aspiré. Donc on dit les hibous, on les sépare. Comprenez? Another example. We have le handicapé. Le handicapé. La hache. La hache. La honte. La honte. Now, with this word honte, I've heard people say la honte, trying to bring in the H sound. It's forbidden. H is never pronounced in French. So it's not la honte, it's la honte. La haine. La haine. Le hamster. Le hamster. Le hasard. Le hasard. Le héros. Le héros. Le hamburger. Le hamburger. La hiérarchie. La hiérarchie. La hernie. La hernie. Le homard. Le homard. La Hollande. La Hollande. La harpe. La harpe. So you get it now? That's the context. These are just a few examples that I've given you, very common examples that you may come across. But there are no definite rules to say if you see it in this form, then that's an H aspiré or an H muet. That's something for you to decide, and that's something for you to know. So let's have a look at a few examples and let's see how you will go about them. This one, for example, how would you pronounce it? Would it be les haches or les haches? 5 seconds. It's les haches. Les haches. No liaison, remember? And this was one of the examples I gave you today. Let's have a look at another one. Is it les Hollandais or les Hollandais? 5 seconds. Les Hollandais. So if you see a group of Dutch people somewhere, you're talking about them in French, you say, oh, voici les Hollandais. You won't say, voici les Hollandais. Voici les Hollandais. Separate les from Hollandais, becomes les Hollandais. This one, le héros or l'héros? 5 seconds. It's le héros. Le héros. So remember the rules. For your H muet, your H aspiré, normally with your H muet, that's where you do your liaison and your elision. But for your H aspiré, none of those. They are forbidden. So no liaison no elision or no contraction when it comes to le H aspiré, your aspirated H. So do you have the concept now? As I said before, there are no special rules guiding this concept. You just have to learn them as you go. You can make mistakes and you learn from your mistakes. But just know that when it comes to le H aspiré, you don't do liaison and you don't do elision. Those two things, if you remember them and you recognize one of them, that would be a nice way for you to go forward in your French journey. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bonne journée. Au revoir et à bientôt.